another video. Today I'm going to share my experience shooting in Hollywood for the first time, as well as shooting some slide film for an agency test shoot. So let's get into it. So right now I have pulled up sort of my process for when I've set up a lot of my creative shoots recently, and it's based in Midjourney. So Midjourney is an AI tool. I'll link to the other video that I went a little more in depth on. But here, basically, I had information on the model. Her name is Naraya. We had digitals from the agent that I coordinated with, and I really wanted to layer in the mood board in a way that was a little bit more dynamic and representative of the final images that we would create. So what I did was I fed the digital of her actual face into the software, and then got a rendered image out on the back end that was representative of the beauty shoot that I wanted to do. So as you can see here, I started off prompting just simple beauty photo shoot with natural earth tones. I have had more success using V5 over any of the other versions of Midjourney. And as you can see, it gets a little confused and doesn't do a great job at isolating the face, and also we don't have a specific creative direction here, so I'm not surprised that it sort of struggles. So next, I supplemented the prompt by adding some more language around what I wanted the model to be wearing. So I'm envisioning something super, super tight, beauty, macro look, just kind of head and shoulders, collarbones, accent makeup, and hair pulled back. So we actually have a very even, smooth, low contrast look that I can saturate with color, and added some prompt information on a medium format camera and some film, just to give the tones that would be representative of the final look we were going to create. So we started to get something that's close here. I tweaked the style parameters a little bit, as well as pulled out some of the cues for earrings and other jewelry that I felt were distracting, and really worked it down to a place where we had some images that were representative of the look we were going to go for. So I was working on the makeup artist here. I'll link her info in the description down below as well. She works out of West Hollywood and is great. Basically, I wanted a really strong lip color that would pull out the accents. So Naraya had very olive tones in her skin, and light colored eyes, and olive tones in her eyes as well. They were hazel. So I wanted to do something cooler. So a cool pink, was very, very saturated. And I think these images really got close to where we were going with the image. I think this image right here is one of the ones I actually used as a final image, which I'll throw up on the slideshow, and then this one as well. And I really like the two. One, the first one giving a more neutral backdrop option, which I actually shot second in order here, as well as the first, which is a more dynamic, sort of contrasty and vibrant image with all of the pinks and purples and blues and teals that are involved in the tonal range of the image. So with that being said, you're welcome to copy any of the prompts here, try them. I'll have all of them available in the description down below. We'll move into the actual images. So I shot everything again on my Sony a7 II. And as you saw at the beginning of the video, there was information on the lens I was using. So I used an adapted Canon FL 135mm f2.5. So I believe it was manufacturing stopped for that lens in the late 60s or early 70s. So the lens is almost 50 years old, but still optically holds up in situations like this where you're doing something creative. You're not really doing anything product photography related, where the light needs to be exactly the same and the color cast can't be present wherever it may be. There's a little bit of character, but I think that's one of the good things about using a lens like this. So to give you an idea of how things look, again, we have the more neutral look here that I'll pull up. And then my retouching, I kept fairly simple, just this smooth dodge and burn, and then pulled out some facial blemishes. So if you see one image to the other, I'll kind of flip back and forth. Nothing too crazy here, some basic dodging and burning. I used a parabolic umbrella with a diffusion sock. And then here again, very, very subtle retouching, because I felt that the makeup was already great, model was great, lighting was great. Just needed a few final touches to elevate things and kind of pull out some of the distracting elements in the image. Really, really like how these turned out overall. So moving into the more colorful images, I actually gelled this using two strobes. So I had a key light in front of the subject and then a strobe behind the subject, and that was gelled. I had a bright blue backdrop and then a red gel, and crank the intensity up on the red gel. So you actually have a gradient from like a deep red into a pink blue, and then to a deep blue, depending on how powerful the strobe is, and I varied that over the course of the shoot. So again here, very simple, basic dodging and burning. This is the YouTube thumbnail I used. And then, again, basic dodging and burning as well. These aren't super, super complicated. I can do a demo of some of my retouching in the future. Really happy with how these final images turned out, and really happy with 135mm focal length. It is a bit long, I would say, for portraits, but I really think the lack of distortion in the lens lends to making really great portraits, and it stands out because it's really not a common lens focal length to see, and the primes are, of course, optically extremely sharp and look really, really great. So even though this lens is 50 years old, the overall character is still very, very impressive. So this is 100%. I guess I can change this. Let's go 300%. I only have a 24 megapixel sensor. So again, very, very impressive level of sharpness that we're getting. There's 300 and that's 100, given the fact that the lens is over 50 years old. So we'll go back to fitting this and go through and show some of the other final images. Overall, the day went pretty well. I set up in my friend and colleague and mentor Tony's apartment, where he has a little mini studio set up. We got the hair and makeup done and knocked out the final images pretty quickly. So again, super light dodge and burn and a little boost to saturation and retouching, but other than that, everything was done in camera. I actually used a Tiffen 812 filter and then a Tiffen enhancing filter. So the 812 filter is a warming filter that is a proprietary technology by Tiffen, but it's really great for skin tones. It makes people's skin look a little more lively, a little more warm, even when hit with a very neutral light. And then the enhancing filter is typically used for landscape, but being that I was using a sort of outside of the box backdrop, it worked really well because it selectively edits reds and pinks in the image rather than, it selectively edits those colors without altering the other ones. So basically it's a boost to the pinks, off pinks, magentas, and reds in the image, which usually you won't run into any issues unless you're doing something super contrasty. So I made sure to shoot this flat to make sure I got the best image result. And to give you a comparison of what that looks like before and after, if we went to proof these, you'll be able to see, let's see, we have on the right, we have the regular one. Reference, and then let's move this here. So on the right we have the regular photo, and then on the left we have the photo with the filter. Again, color card is there. There are subtle shifts in the actual color, but as you can see, skin tones are warmer. Pinks and purples here are more saturated. Again, I haven't applied any of my color grading or anything like that to the image, so this is sort of just a raw. I really think it looks nice, and overall the lighting setup was perfect for what we were looking for. So I'll go back to the single image to show you how I built the light up. Started out again testing with the red, boosted the red until I got sort of a purple and worked that purple into the backdrop. We attempted using a red backdrop as well, so this is red hitting a red pink, giving us sort of a orange pink red gradient. But I opted for going with the blue just because it gave a little bit more contrast in terms of color in the image. And then the final look, of course, looks something like this. Now to show sort of this before and after, so this is before, this is after. So I in terms of color grading, I will typically add a film profile to a lot of my images. I really think it pulls out the skin tones quite well. And with the Sony's colors, they tend to lean a little bit green in the neutral sort of skin tones and midtones. So I like to warm them up a bit, and that's sort of my color process before and after. So overall, shoot went really, really well. The other thing that we shot was actually slide film. So I will show you some of that right here. In the slide film, again, I shot Ektachrome 100, and I pushed it a stop and a half in development. One, to match up with the ISO that I was shooting in camera, and then two, to give a little bit of a contrast boost, just because it's not necessarily easy to do in camera. Again, the Ektachrome rendered a little bit warmer and didn't play as nicely with respect to white balance than the digital images did, but again, very impressive level of sharpness and resolution for a film that is a slide film that's pushed. Posted one of these on Reddit, again, that I'll link below if you want to check out that post. But again, skin tones look great, the highlight on the cheek here pops, lips look great, and overall really happy with these beauty images and how they turned out. So if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more content like it in the future, let me know. Drop a comment down below. I've been trying to shoot more slide film, and I'm also in the process of restoring a few cameras. So keep your eyes out, and be sure to subscribe and keep up to date on all the content that I'm putting out. All of the relevant links will be in the description down below if you want to follow me on other social platforms. But outside of that, have a great day, and I hope you learned something today. See ya.